a kind of piece of advice to the parents. So let's start. Like overview, we can say that human sexuality has three different aspects. The first aspect is the biological aspect, the emotional or physical aspect, and the spiritual one. The biological aspect refers to the reproductive mechanism as well as the biological drive. The emotional or physical aspect is expressed through profound feelings of physical manifestations of emotions of love, trust, and caring. And the other aspect is the spiritual aspect, which is the connection with others. The issue of sex has become an exceptionally controversial one. So, before we talk about sex education, we need before to ask questions and to give a sort of definition of sex education. Then, what is sex education? Like you can see on the screen, the sex education is a lifelong process of building a strong foundation of sexual health through acquiring information, informing attitudes. It is also beliefs and values about identity, relationships, and intimacy. It takes place on a daily basis in homes, schools, faith-based institutions, and through the media. Sex education is a curriculum that teaches knowledge, behaviors, attitudes, and skills that promote committed family relationship, healthful relationship, good character, healthful sexuality, and reproductive health. The goal of youth sex education is to assist youth in understanding a positive view of sexuality. It also provides them with the skills about taking care of their sexual health and helps them to acquire skills to make decisions now and in the future. Experience has shown that adolescents are very curious about some or all the aspects of their sexuality as well as the nature of sexuality in general, and that shows that many of adolescents will wish to experience their sexuality. Let's talk now about youth sex education in the world. First, in USA, we can see that almost of USA students receive some form of sex education at least once between grade 7 and 12. Many schools begin addressing some topics in grade 5 or 6. Sometimes formal sex education is taught as a full course of the curriculum junior in the junior high school. Other time, it is only one unit within a more broad biology class, health class, home economic class, and so and so. In the United Kingdom, we can see that sex education focuses on reproductive system, fetal development, and the physical and emotional changes of adolescents, while real information about contraception and safe sex is discretionary, and discussion about relationship is often neglected. Britain has one of the highest teenage pregnancy rates in Europe, and sex education is a heated issue in government and media reports. Before we move on, let me say that some schools in USA offer no sex education, since it remains a controversial issue in USA. Especially with regard to the age at which children should start receiving such education, the amount of detail that is revealed, and topics dealing with human sex behavior. In Africa, it is what really concerns us. In Africa, it's thought that sex education encourages young people's sexual activities. So, they don't give adolescents any information of sexual matters because discussion of these issues being considered like taboo. Most of the information of sexual matters were obtained informally from friends, internet, magazine, the media, and much of that information was of doubtful value. While in Africa we don't want to tell youth about sexual issue, we can see that it developed many problems to us, like the sexual risk behavior, unprotected sex are increasing, especially among young. The rate of pregnancy and abortion is getting higher and higher. A poor life sexual identity increases the suicidal risk, even it is not very high in Africa. While sex education is contentiously debated, the chief controversial points are whether covering child sexuality is valuable or detrimental, the use of birth control such as condoms and hormonal contraception, and the impact of such use on pregnancy, outside marriage, teenage pregnancy, and the transmission of sexual transmitted infections. Some international organizations such as Planned Parenthood consider that broad sex education programs have global benefits such as controlling the risk of overpopulation and the advancement of human rights. So it's very clear that we also need to teach youth in school about sex education, because by doing that we can prevent them, we can avoid them to get a STI or to make an abortion or things like that. So, after saying that, I think that it is also important to give some pieces of advice to parents, the approach they can use to talk about sex with their youth. For example, a parent must seize the moment when a TV program or music video raises issues about responsible sex behavior. Parents must use it as a springboard for discussion. As a parent, we should remember that every moment, such as riding in the car or putting away groceries, sometimes offer the best opportunities to talk. The parents must be direct, must state their feelings about specific issues such as oral sex and intercourse. Present the risk objectively, including emotional pain, sexuality transmitted infection, and unplanned pregnancy. The parents must not lecture their teen or rely on scare tactics to discourage sexual activity. Instead, they must listen carefully, understand their teen pressure, challenge, and concerns. For the parents, they have to move beyond the facts. The teen needs accurate information about sex, but it's just as important to talk about feelings, attitudes, and values. Examine questions of ethics and responsibility in the context of your personal or religious beliefs. Invite more discussion. Let your teen know that it is okay to talk with him about sex whenever he or she has questions or concerns. Reward questions by saying, "I'm glad you came to me." So to summarize what I have just presented, in the other countries, sex education has already reached a level that it has a benefit on the youth, but in Africa it remains a taboo. So parents or our African government must put on special accent on the fact that we must teach youth in school about sex education. I mean, about hormonal, how to have.
The time is over.
Yeah, I'm done.